What is going on, everybody? This is episode 353 of The O Show. I'm your host, Jack O'Hara. Episode 2 in the brand new studio. I just want to give a quick shout out and thanks to Alex Clancy, the host of the Locked On Cardinals podcast, as well as a Fox Sports Radio on-air personality, for coming on the show in studio last week. That episode is up, episode 349. With Alex Clancy. That was sports. We're going to make a big shift to the music scene today, episode 353. They are Birmingham-born and raised. They made the move to Nashville a few years ago, and of course, they'll be on tour in the States throughout this 2021 calendar year. They are the Brook and the Bluff. Boys, how is Nashville, Tennessee on this Wednesday?
It is gorgeous. I wish you could see it.
No humidity, perfect. Because again, it's
is.
down south. The humidity this time of year, I know it's still May, right? So it can't be that bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's not that bad yet. It's perfect, like 60-something degrees.
No humidity, not a cloud in the sky.
Oh,
today.
my God. Yeah, I was telling you before we went on, my brother just moved to Nashville. He's loving it out there, living on the Strip. It's more, I know you guys have said in interviews, it's more of a rock and roll town these days than it is country, right?
Yes and no. I think country's still alive and well, but I think country kind of stays in its own world.
Yeah.
But East Nashville is definitely a lot of rock and roll and indie, and
you'll find everything here because everybody wants to be different, you know. So
I mean, back in the day,
new kind of sounds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, back in the day, it was LA, 80s, 90s, the whole Seattle grunge scene. But I feel like Nashville now, everybody's just heading there because of everything, all the resources, all the business there.
Yeah, it's cheaper to live here too than LA or New York, definitely.
Yeah, it's technically in the South, so people are, kind of nice. Maybe nicer than they would be in New York or LA.
I lived in Charlotte for a summer, and I can attest to that. People very nice. Things slow down a lot down there, though. I don't know about you guys. I'm go, go, go. Like, I have that just mentality of just go, go, go. Like, there'd be people, at stoplights, and the light turns green, and it takes them about 5 to 10 seconds to kind of recuperate and go. And I'm just sitting there in the back, like, my East Coast mentality, like, it's a green light, let's go.
Yeah, I bet the drivers are different for sure down here compared to a big city.
Yeah, it's all the gravy.
That street's incredible.
It's all the gravy.
So you guys, the Brook and the Bluff, again, thanks so much for coming on the show. I know John and I were kind of trying to communicate to get this done. John, you're the guy that, sets everything up. You're the accountant major, right, from Auburn? You basically take care of all the media side stuff?
Yes and no. I definitely set up this podcast, but we're super lucky to have some really good management now that can handle more of that. But yeah, when I came in the band, that was a little bit more of my role, like having done the accounting stuff. Like first thing I did was make a few spreadsheets and try and book some shows and do all that boring business stuff.
And whipped us into shape, basically.
You got to stay organized. So the more you guys have grown, the more you've been able to, again, build up your team when it comes to social media and the business side. Because, again, moving to Nashville, I'm sure you guys kind of, got familiar with that side of, just not the music, but the business side. And there's a lot of people out there. I'm just a journalist. I don't play any instruments. I try. You guys know Nirvana? I could play Nirvana songs. I think those are like the easiest songs to play on acoustic.
Let's go.
But the business and the music side of, they mesh, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Like you guys trust who you're working with, and you guys like made sure that you weren't getting, screwed over in a sense, because there's a lot of people out there that say the business side could be very toxic, at least back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure.
I think there's just a lot to learn.
Yeah.
That most musicians don't have a clue about when they first start. Which we kind of started doing when you started. Like John basically became our de facto manager when we first started, and kind of learned as much as he could and we could about the whole band. But I think when you hit a certain point as a band, you want to focus on the music and playing shows and touring. And so having someone else that is really good at the managerial stuff just only helps you like stay functional in the long run,
Oh yeah. When was the first time that the four of you played together? Because I know Alec and Joseph, you guys started the group, but with the four of you, when was the first time you actually played in front of a live crowd?
It was January. It was that Odie's gig, right? Or no. Well, actually, with Fred, it was
with me, like which is after like everything had really gotten going, but it was in Tuscaloosa. It was Greenwater.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then the next night was a UAB sorority formal, so that was.
Oh yeah. We kind of Fred like filled in as a bassist randomly here and there at first.
Mm-hmm. Bassists are the hardest band member to hold on to.
So he was kind of on and off again. And Alec and Fred, you guys actually grew up together next door, right? You guys were next door neighbors?
Oh yeah.
Yep. We would walk to elementary school and then junior high school for, 9 years.
Oh yeah.
8 or 9, pretty much.
We took piano lessons together and quit piano lessons together.
Yeah.
We're in a church band and stuff. But yeah, and actually we went, Fred, myself, and John went to the same high school as well and sang in choir together.
And we could see Joseph from across town. He went to the rival school.
Hoover.
Yeah, they had my location. We didn't know each other yet, but I gave him my last.
But we can hear your voice.
Did you guys all go to college together? Were you guys all at Auburn?
3 of us.
All but me.
All but Fred. And that's where Joseph and I actually met, was at Auburn, and started actually playing music together.
Yeah. I mean, that's nuts. I mean, you were just saying, playing in front of fraternities and playing in front of, a young crowd. That's got to be sick because people will resonate with you. People are going to, basically, they're going to have your back right away in that sense. How early on did you guys, play your own stuff? Because I know you did a lot of cover stuff growing up. But what was one of the first original songs that you guys wrote and it really stuck? It really resonated with people. People could listen to it and be like, man, I love this music.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say that any of our songs resonated with people right off of the bat.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of this deal where we were playing gigs and we had a few songs and we would just slip them in there in between a bunch of cover songs. And then if somebody asked us after the set which one, like, hey, who played this one that went like this, and it turned out to be our song, that we considered that kind of a win.
That was a big
win. I think we like recorded the first 3 songs we recorded were Straws, A Little Change of Pace, and Rush, and we did them in one day and we put them on SoundCloud, and then we had CDs. And I guess the person that it really mattered that CD got to was John, because he heard it and he wanted to join.
Yes.
The missing piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the major label guy in the back. Me. No, but one of the first ones, when we actually recorded Masks as a full band, we were kind of still playing cover gigs around, but since we had that like full band recording out, that was like the next few cover gigs that we played after that. It was fun to like whip that out full band and have people there and hear it and love it, because it had already been kind of like spreading around Birmingham and the Southeast. Yeah.
So what were your guys' plans going into school? Because obviously musicians, but at the same time, like, was there a plan B for you guys? I know, John, like, you were kind of, deciding on whether, join the band or, have a plan B, have more of like a simple life, consistent salary, consistent money, and then, just go from there. So when did you decide, like, okay, I'm all in, I'm doing this?
So I was in my 5th year at Auburn doing a master's in accounting. And that's actually when I saw Joseph and Alec play as an acoustic duo as the Brook the Bluff. And at that time I was kind of still just, looking to do accounting, and thought, but at the same time I knew Joseph and Alec and thought, it could be fun to like add in with them and play percussion and just like play some fun gigs over the summer. But as soon as we started playing together, we started, obviously they showed me some original stuff they had written. And so I think the process of hearing that original stuff and then also taking it and working it out as a full band, it kind of got the wheels in my mind turning, thinking, okay, if I'm ever going to try to do the original music thing, it's definitely going to be with these two. And I vividly remember it was one weekend in May, like May of 2016, where we had like a few cover gigs but also played some original music. And it was just one of those weekends where it was kind of like, it just clicked in my head, like, oh, let's go for this full time. Let's like see. So I texted Alec and Joseph and to see where their head was at in terms of like, are you guys trying to do this full time? Because I am. And they said yes. And I said, okay, sweet. Let's put accounting on hold and give it a go.
But for the longest time, John was fully planning on taking the accounting job. So we were planning on John leaving without much of a plan for like what was going to happen after that. You texted us and you were just like, hey, we need to talk. And we were like, okay. And then he sat us down in our basement and was like, guys, I didn't take the job. We're going to do this thing full time. We were mind blown too, for real. Because
he made the decision and during the guitar solo of using
That's right.
At Moe's barbecue.
So a few years in, do you regret that decision?
Yes. 100%. No, definitely not. No. It kind of in my head, I was thinking, I just like deferred the job for a year and was like, okay, I'll just like, so it honestly wasn't like, it was
go back tomorrow.
I could always go back to it if I needed it. But in that year, it obviously became clear that, okay, this is something, and it's going to take more than a year to figure out how to continue like building it from the ground up. So that's what we did. Yeah. We just got to a point where didn't need to call the accounting people back. But yeah.
Do what you love, man. Do what you love, the money will come. That's what my mom keeps telling me. I do this
100%.
show for nothing, so I'm saying that the money's going to come. We'll see. Hope you're watching, Mom. But you guys talked about, you're going on tour this year finally. I'm sure, as well as for all musicians, it was very tough these past few months, year and a half, whatever, how long it was. I feel like it's ending, but it might not be ending. I really don't know. Are you guys vaccinated? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah,
all four of us.
Good for you guys. I mean, you guys are going on tour. You don't want to spread that stuff. But what were some of the early, favorite cover songs that you guys played? Because that's how, most people get their start. You're playing live music. You're probably taking requests. What were some of your favorite cover stuff growing up?
Wow, that's a good question.
That's a good question. The first song I ever covered in front of a band was "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer. So that's always super special. And we have a cover of "My Name Is Jonas," which is like, it's one of my favorites that we do.
That's really
I mean, you really can't go wrong with Use Me.
You
really can't.
The problem is we've played these cover songs about 8,000 times at least.
Yeah,
so your relationship with them starts to change.
It does change after a while. I don't know. The covers we've been doing recently on the records, I think, are pretty special to us. Like we covered a Sade song on the last record, and on this newest record, covered a song by a girl named Karen Dalton, who.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, spoiler alert. It's okay. Album's coming. We're building the hype.
When's it come out?
We actually don't exactly know that yet. Still in the planning phase, but it'll be this year. Probably in kind of conjunction with the tour. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys going to play any of those songs while you're on tour? Because that's tough, I feel like, making a set list, especially like it's got to be when you're playing every single night, you're going from city to city, town to town. Like I feel like you have to have a set playlist, or do you guys just go with the flow? Like go with what the crowd, is feeling that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think we have enough songs to go with the flow yet.
We might on this next run just like have just enough to like, switch up a couple things every night or so.
Yeah, it's like it's an interesting balance between like, because once we get on the road and we're on tour, we kind of have a set nailed down. So we just keep getting better and better at that set. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, you want to keep it fresh for you. And we'll probably be mixing and matching. Different
throw a couple new covers in there, or we'll find like interesting ways to transition between songs. But yeah, and then usually like if we're playing in the city that we played last year, we'll try to not play the same set we played last year, just to give people like something a little different and to make it more fun for us.
Keep it fresh. And there's also like every city kind of has a song. Like I think Boston has "Dirty Water" by the Standells, which I know a lot of people will play when they go to Boston. New York's obviously Sinatra town. But you guys touched on Weezer. Like Rivers Cuomo, I feel like, is the king of putting out cover records. Like every other Weezer record is a cover record.
Oh yeah.
We saw them in Birmingham, and like half the set was covers.
It was all covers, and they were amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
They were incredible.
they still got it in their 50s.
Uh-huh.
I assume that's how old they are.
Are they really in their 50s?
I might be making that up. I'm like, if they started in 1990, it's 30 years. I mean, they could be. If they got started in their 20s, it's 30 years later. That'd be their 50s. That is bizarre. That's insane to think about.
It is wild.
My uncle wrote it was like a 5,000 word essay his senior year in college for one of his final classes about how Weezer was the greatest band of all time. And he failed. Just because his professor said that it's just false.
Oh no!
So like within the first few sentences, she's like, "I'm already done with this. Like I'm turned off."
Oh, but was the argument strong?
It had to be 5,000 words.
Yeah, seriously.
He says he still has it in one of his dressers at home, 35 years later, post college.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see some of these talking points.
I'll tell you what. When you guys come to Phoenix, I'll come out with the essay. I'll make sure he faxes it out, and we can read it.
I'm gonna grade this myself.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting because Weezer's just one of those bands that every other record seems like a cover record. I know Joseph, you did Tribute by Tenacious D, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was Alec and I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There he is, right there.
Staple. Oh my gosh.
Look at his beard flowing in the wind.
God, that is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
That's
it doesn't get better than that.
That was one of the favorites at all.
Yeah. That was early on, and the first time we played it, we had never played it before, and somebody asked us to play it at the bar, and we just kind of like felt our way through it, but we nailed the vocal break in the middle, and that's when we knew that we had something special.
Oh, we were doing this, yeah.
I think that was truly the moment.
That when you ask about favorite covers, that's got to be up there.
That's definitely on the list for sure.
That's one of the best.
Are you guys School of Rock fans?
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't even realize that, dude. That's awesome.
You can't see it. That's actually not related to the movie. It's I worked at the real School of Rock in Memphis, but
oh wow.
But to not get away from the question, yes, we adore the movie.
So one by one, favorite quotes from the movie.
Oh,
impromptu.
Read between the lines, Theo. Read between the lines.
Oh my gosh!
I'm a lover.
Yeah.
No vacancy.
I think
Remember that one fan at the end of the movie who was cheering for no vacancy when they won the Battle of the Bands?
Yeah. I think the quote that we quote the most is Dewey, this is Spider, he's replacing you.
Dude, this is Spider.
It's like if we're ever annoyed with
Spider.
It's like the half
John,
shirt
this is
leather.
Spider, he's replacing you.
Hungry in A minor G. Oh, that's probably mine.
Heal Me, I'm Heartsick is on one of my most recent playlists. We saw the movie again the other week, me and one of my roommates. I'm like, that's going on the playlist. Like, this isn't bad music. They wrote this stuff for the movie. It's not that bad.
Who did the music for that?
It had to be Jack Black. Jack Black and then Mike White, who played Ned Schneebly, was the director of the movie. So I think they probably worked on it together.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Ned, phone.
Hello, this is Ned Schneebly.
Silverman.
I actually saw School of Rock on Broadway, which is about the most John thing I could ever say. But
was that different though?
It was good.
What?
Was that different?
It was different, but the most impressive thing about it was that they were like all the kids were playing all the parts, and they were all like 11 or 12 years old.
Oh.
And they were like singing, acting, and like someone actually came out before the show to say that, like, let there be no confusion, these kids are doing everything. And so that made it like another
That's
level.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about I think it was the Zach Mooneyham, whatever his name was, in that movie? He went to prison for stealing electric guitars like a few years ago.
Oh no.
I didn't hear that. But
Oh, that's rough.
Which is nuts. I think it was after they went on Broadway.
oh, interesting.
But yeah,
Yeah,
you got
it's
into a
gotta be
little bit of
crazy,
trouble.
like making that movie, then have a kid, and then
Yeah.
I'm sure it kind of messes with you.
What do you do?
I know.
What do you do after that?
My favorite scene was when he was listing all the bands. He's like, all right, who are some of the inspirations? Go. They're like, Puff Daddy. He's like, what? No. The one kid was like, Liza Minnelli. Liza Minnelli was one of them. He's just like, AC/DC, Motorhead, Led Zeppelin. And everybody pauses. He's like,
the history of rock.
He's like, don't tell me you've never rocked the lead. Come on, guys. That would have been the best class ever. Like, he's listing all the different genres, all the different types of rock, metal, grunge.
Amazing.
Every time I see that, I'm like, I would have loved that class. I would have done so much better in school.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Incredible. He gives the drummer like the tape of Neil Peart from Rush, and I was like, yes, that's all you need. That's all you need, really.
Mm-hmm.
Russian, yes.
Yes.
That is one of my favorite movies of all time, though. That is
Yeah.
one of the classics. And then there was The Pick of Destiny with him and...
Yes. Classic, too. It's a little more on the outrageous side, but it's so good.
what's his buddy's name? Kyle
Gass.
Gass. The Kyle Gass Project. How can I forget that?
Kyle Gass Project.
Oh, my God. But that's
Kyle can play. He is unbelievable at guitar.
They are awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, to go back to, again, kind of to switch gears here, I was so happy you guys knew that movie because I'm like, that'll take up some time. But you guys, doing covers early on, you're probably playing, at least the two of you when you started out, playing in front of who knows how many people, 5, 10, 15. I talked to Darius Rucker a few weeks ago talking about, how Hootie and the Blowfish played in front of 5 people, and they loved that, starting out. Like, for you guys, was it awkward playing in front of a few people when you first started, or was it more relaxing that way before you really got going?
I think like playing for that many people at the beginning kind of really like gave us the like wherewithal to accept that we're going to play for 3 people in Raleigh, North Carolina, like 2 years later.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's not, you can just kind of turn it into practice and be more loose. So it's never like a bad time. Obviously I'll definitely always want more people there. But you can always, you can try stuff that you definitely don't normally try. Sometimes you can find things within a set where there aren't that many people there that you would not normally try if there was more people in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then like early on too, it didn't like the sound systems that we were playing in were so like Moe's Barbecue. I don't know how many people, even if there were 200 people in there were probably only 4 people listening to us. That
was a thing. A lot of times it'd be like crowded and loud, but no one was watching you because they're just drinking and talking to their friends.
Yeah.
So the key was to try and turn people's attention.
Yeah.
That aren't there to see you towards you. Yeah.
You guys get into any bar fights early on? Or is this just a new era? Nobody does that anymore.
No.
Yeah, I haven't.
No, we've had beer poured on us before, and we've had.
But that was kicked out of a bar in Dallas, Texas.
My friend.
Yeah.
That was my friend that poured the beer.
Just took his shirt off and sprayed beer all over the stage.
Well, Fred, did you just allude to an almost bar fight? And
not a bar fight, but I got kicked out of a bar. It's in Dallas.
Tell us what happened
in Dallas.
Yeah.
What happened? Well, John, what happened was we were partying. we had played a house show that night, and it was actually coincidentally like my maybe worst show to date. Like I just too much Texas water, and then we went to a bar afterwards, and I was already in the sauce, and I tried to serve myself a beer because the bartender wasn't paying attention to me. In fact, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't, but he wasn't even like near the bar. So I just reached around and, as you do, just reach around the bar, grab the cup.
If they're not going to give it to you, just take it.
Just take it.
I mean, I tried. But all the next thing I know, I'm getting like shoved on my chest. Like this guy is just like, he's got me and he's just like driving me out the door. And I'm just like, okay, sorry. Like, oh, give me back. Like,
and really the cherry on top of the whole story is that Fred was wearing this shirt that said "Wild, Not Mild" on it. It was just the most ridiculous looking shirt ever.
It has a Ferrari on it. It's
So that was the closest thing to a bar fight. That's nuts.
I think so. Yeah.
Times have changed, man.
I guess so. Yeah. I think maybe our crowd isn't like the bar fight type of crowd.
I don't know. I feel like it depends on the town. Like if you guys go back on tour this year in the States and you go to a city like Boston or New York or like Baltimore, Maryland, they might be itching for a fight.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I could see, especially in Boston.
High, but our music is pretty agreeable. So, I feel like it's just all good, all chill.
So, based on your guys' inspirations, I feel like all four of you are kind of, all over the place when it comes to your different inspirations. I mean, everybody is inspired by the Beatles, I feel like, one way or another. Like, if you're not inspired by the Beatles, the people that you are inspired by were probably inspired by another band who were inspired by another band who were inspired by another band who were inspired by the Beatles, right?
Right.
But, all four of you guys, like, what were some of those early on inspirations and how were you able to, again, craft and mold that into the music that you play now?
Well, we are definitely inspired by the Beatles, very directly.
Yes. Firsthand, but we're all over the place as far as like, I feel like it's probably changed for all of us, but like, for example, early on, I was listening to just like, a lot of like Van Halen and Boston and Journey, and then like Incubus and Dave Matthews Band and stuff in high school, and John Mayer. It was just all over the place. And then honestly, later on, I started listening to the Beatles a lot more as I've gotten older. So I know these guys.
One of my first few was it was the American Idiot album or record from Green Day. That was the first thing my dad bought me when I was like 3 years old. Because he thought that'd be a better alternative to like Guns N' Roses and AC/DC for some reason. That is like 100%. Yeah, me and my brother. So I dressed up as Billy Joe Armstrong for Halloween with his dyed blue hair like 3 years in a row. My brother would go as Trey Cool, and we'd be like flipping off our third grade teachers. We'd get in trouble. We'd get sent home. It's probably still to this day one of the worst parenting decisions he made.
Most punk thing I've ever heard. That's incredible.
Definitely had a Green Day phase at some point.
I feel like everybody did.
Yeah.
Their music just sounds different. And like that's the goal for you guys too, right? You're trying to make something that, is inspired by something else. That's how it happens, but you're trying to formulate a sound that's never been heard before.
Exactly. Yeah.
How tough is that?
Fairly tough when there's only so many chords out there.
There's only 7 notes in the scale. But I feel like the music you make is always just some kind of combination of what you've listened to in the past and what you're currently into now. Yeah. But the most important part I think is just to like write stuff that you genuinely think is cool and genuinely interests you, and then oftentimes it will also interest other people too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you guys, you have like kind of your set sound. Your audience knows what you guys play. Like, if you guys came out with like a big time rock album, do you think people would be turned off by that? Because I feel like a lot of musicians kind of experiment with stuff later on.
I think it depends on if we did it well or not.
Yeah. Depends on if we would like it, really.
Yeah. Well, what kind of rock? Because
I don't know. Bring back grunge, dude.
Like if we did a grunge
I'm saying,
like
man,
at the time it was considered alternative. Like if you came out with something that sounded like a Nirvana or even like a Pearl Jam-esque, because I feel like that would be way out of your range, but why not?
It's out of my vocal range for sure.
I'm a big rock guy, that's why I ask.
And I love some 90s grunge and stuff, but
that was what I grew up on. I have a brother who's 7 years older than me, so he got me into all the Pearl Jam, the Smashing Pumpkins, Chili Peppers.
See, these are some of the covers you got to play when you guys go out to like Seattle and LA and all of those towns where it started.
Dude, Joseph is obsessed with the Chili Peppers. Let me tell you, he's been dying to do a cover for so long.
My favorite band that's ever existed.
Really?
We should do a Soundgarden cover sometime.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, Chris Cornell was one of those guys that could play anything, right?
And one of the most versatile singers out there too. He was incredible.
I thought one of his more recent records before he died, it was like called The Higher Truth or whatever, more folky type music, was probably one of the best records he ever put out, at least from a single perspective, because obviously Soundgarden was almost metal. Like they were a metal band and then they jumped onto the grunge scene with, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. And then Audio Slave was its own entity when he teamed with Rage Against the Machine, or those guys from Rage Against the Machine. That was an interesting sound. But then when he went solo, it was more, just him and his acoustic guitar, and it was just something completely different from what you saw from him the first 20 years of his career. And it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got range.
He did a song with Zach Brown Band too.
Yeah, Heavy as the Head, or whatever it's called. He collaborated with a ton of people.
Yeah.
Cat Stevens was one of them. Like, you do a song with Cat Stevens, the lead singer from Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Completely different sound, and he made it work.
All over the place, but we'll see if we get to grunge one day. We're still not quite there in the early stages of our career.
You guys do what you love to do, just keep making the music you love to do, and people will enjoy it. So when you guys go back on tour, what is it? Nashville, the first site, and then you're going to make your way across the United States?
It actually starts. Nashville is actually literally the last show of the tour, and probably the last show of the year. Look at that OG pick. We're actually starting with. We're starting by going out west, so we're traversing across, doing like Kansas City, Omaha, Nebraska, Denver, and then we'll hit the Pacific Northwest and down through California, then wrap around back through Phoenix, Texas, take a little break, then hit the East Coast. So yeah, should be cool. We should draw it on a map.
Yes, but we should have had it written out for you here. But
you guys should just rent a van and just truck it the entire way.
Yeah, we actually have a van.
We own a van at this point. Yeah.
Well, use it, document it, and then you guys can come out with a documentary afterwards just to show people what you guys do and how much fun you had.
Yeah, exactly.
True, yeah.
We actually kind of had our videographer Noah made a little tour documentary of our last tour, like right before COVID, which we've released a few little videos from, but I think we're waiting on the last one to come in.
Yeah.
So having a social media team's for.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
We're starting to run out of seats in the van. Is the problem?
More stuff, more merch.
Yeah, I think we will need to rent a trailer for this next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so we'll see.
So when you guys go out, on tour, are you constantly just getting new equipment, or do you have to bring the same stuff, like same guitars, same drum set? Are you guys at that level yet where they just bring in new ones for you?
Oh no,
we're bringing it all.
At any level, I don't know if they're bringing in new stuff every show. I would imagine the higher you get, your stuff just gets more expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we just get more of it, like more guitars, more basses.
Yeah.
Not really more basses. You only really need one of those, but more expensive ones.
3 basses at one time.
Yeah.
Oh, McCartney used more than one bass.
I have decided I'm gonna get a new kit before tour.
Oh my God, 5 years. Here we are.
5 years in the
make. 5 years of touring and like 13 years of play. I don't know. Like you got that kid in 7th grade. 8th
grade. But I will say the snare and cymbals is one of the things that a lot of people focus on, and I have replaced those, but the shells are the OG.
Are the same.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, God forbid it breaks like midway through the tour, you're screwed.
Huh?
Like, God forbid it breaks like midway through the tour. Like you said, like it's an old kit. Like one hit on the snare drum, it just blasts through the bass. Like you're screwed.
And that's it. That's it.
That's the tour. Just pack it in. Back in the van. Back to Nashville.
Cool. Yeah.
Do not pass Guitar Center.
Yeah. I made the mistake of leaving a guitar in a hot car before a gig one time.
Yeah.
And I think in Charlotte. And I just didn't, it was only for like half an hour, but I didn't realize how quickly it would like warp the neck. And so when we didn't even get a sound check that night, but I picked up my guitar and the string, like the neck had bent so much, the strings just were like flopping against the neck and it was like unplayable. So I had to like ask the opener to borrow a guitar last minute, but that is, it's not ideal. So I
probably understood
that I bring on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So last question I have for you guys. I don't want to take too much of your time, and I told you before I wouldn't, so living up to my promise.
Good,
You
It's
know,
fun though. I'm having fun.
it's a casual conversation, right?
Yeah.
Better than any sort of media interviews you guys are probably going to have when you go back on tour.
This is
You
awesome.
guys got to come to the studio when you come to Phoenix.
Oh,
That would be
I'd love
sweet.
We'd love to have you here.
Absolutely.
But, you know, you guys have been a band now for a few years. You know, the two of you started it, and then you added on, you know, the other two, John and Fred. And how do you guys, it's a weird question, I don't know how to phrase it, but how do you kind of like keep it fresh? How do you guys, you know, not drive each other insane when you guys are going? Obviously, the past year and a half, like you guys were in your homes, you're all in the same city, but, you know, when you guys are on tour, you know, there's a lot of bands that implode. You know, you saw it with, again, Rock Guy, Guns N' Roses back in the day, Axl and Slash had their moments. They didn't get back together for nearly 25 years. How do you guys, you know, in the short term that you guys have been together, how do you guys keep it fresh? Because you have been a band for a short period of time, but you guys have known each other for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like personally don't think any of our like dispositions and like the way that we like our personalities, like I just don't know that we're ever gonna like have a blow up on each other. You know, I mean, like we kind of keep it light. I mean, honestly, I would say the way that we stay doing it is that we just kind of like roast each other on like 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I feel like the van rides are just one big bit.
yeah,
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, just never. We just don't like. I guess like the only time that we take ourselves super seriously is when we're actually on stage. Other than that, we're pretty much just kind of like shooting it.
What's one of the biggest pranks you guys have pulled on each other?
Oh, I don't see. It's not even like a prank. I mean,
Yeah, we don't pull pranks. We just mess with each other.
We just, I can think
But
of
I think too. What is like? I'm sorry.
Oh, there was this one time that Fred, we had a Polaroid on tour, and someone took a picture of Fred of him doing this, and so that is a famous Polaroid that we'll just like hide in each other's like I don't know, suitcases or guitar cases, and then if you get got, then sucks.
You gotta get someone else.
You gotta hold on to it until you get someone else.
That's
You know what's
easy
hilarious
blackmail
is,
stuff right there.
The stakes
You know
are
what's hilarious is when we took that Polaroid was the morning after the Dallas bar night.
It was.
Was it really? Wow.
Yeah. So I was not in a good headspace, but and it was it's documented forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I would say, yeah, we're not like pranksters. We just kind of like talk trash.
Yeah. Try not to take yourselves too seriously, because in the end, if you can't laugh about it, then what are you even doing?
Yeah.
That's my philosophy.
And I think something that like keeps us like happy and fresh on tour is like we're all just really naturally excited to be doing what we're doing, and that just creates the perfect atmosphere, the perfect space where, you know, we just genuinely enjoy it, and you know it feels very natural to answer your question.
That's good. Just have each other's backs on tour again. Like if there's ever a situation where you guys feel like, all right, things are going to get rowdy and you guys got to square up,
Yeah.
throw some haymakers. Make it fun.
Right.
That'll be good stuff on film too if your social media team's there.
Just let it go.
I love that kind of stuff. That's why I keep mentioning it. But guys, thanks for being gracious enough to come on the show today. Hopefully when you guys are out in Phoenix, we can get you in studio. And, you know, again, my roommates, especially my roommate Katie, I want to give her a shout out, loves you guys. So
Yeah.
Katie.
Heck yeah.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks so much for having us, man.
Yeah.
Katie, this is really fun.
Well, guys, this was episode 353 of the O Show. We'll be back next week with David Meltzer again. Thanks to the Brook and the Bluff. They're going back out on tour this year with their new stuff, 3 new singles that came out this year. Again, this was episode 353 of the O Show.